on the 15th of April. 4 supervolcanoes erupted within 12 hours of each other. Yellowstone, Toba, Taupo, Phlegraean fields. The probability was so low it suggested something unnatural, but no one was listening. In a secluded compound in northern Honshu, Kazuki watched the alerts with unnerving calm.
So it began. The dimming I prepared for, 5 years. Every calculation, praying I was wrong.
Outside, ash clouds swallowed the sky. The village below had minutes before the world froze.
Kazuki-san, please. The mountain is burning. Let us in.
I am opening the gate. Get inside, all of you. It won't hold much longer.
89 neighbors poured into the geothermal compound, the only warm shelter in a dying world.
The geothermal core will keep the lamps burning. But without sunlight, how long can we last?
The ash clouds thickened into an unbroken shroud. Day became a permanent twilight of gray.
Seal the hatch. We don't open it again until the air is breathable, however long that takes.
Inside the compound, the air was warm and clean, a pocket of life beneath the ash. Kazuki led them deeper to the glowing heart of his sanctuary, the geothermal well.
This well taps the Earth's heat. It powers everything. Lights, water, and soon our food.
Without the sun, how will plants grow? We've never farmed underground before.
These lamps mimic the sun, and this vault holds seeds for every crop we need. I prepared 5 years for this.
But on the 3rd day, frost bloomed on the greenhouse glass, even with the geothermal heat at maximum.
Kazuki-san, the cold is breaking through. Can your system really hold against this?
The global drop is 14 degrees Celsius. I accounted for 10. We're in uncharted territory.
That evening, they shared a spare meal, measured portions from 4 plastic bins, the first ration of many. Outside, the world was a silent tomb of ash and ice. Inside, 90 people clung to a thread of warmth. For 6 weeks, a blizzard raged beyond the compound walls, sealing them in a tomb of ice and ash.
Kazuki-san, someone broke the lock on the seed vault. A full sack of beans is gone.
One thief could doom us all. I can't let this slide, but cracking down could shatter their trust. From now on, every grain is measured. Anyone caught stealing will be confined to the cold wing. There is no other choice.
We understand, Kazuki-san. The hunger is making people desperate. We will support you.
So the community limped through the frozen months, surviving on thin soup and the faint hope of spring. Then, on the 63rd day, the first green sprout pushed through the soil, a tiny rebellion against the dark.
Look, the spinach survived. We'll have fresh greens by the week's end.
It's a start, but we burned through 60% of our reserves. Next winter, that won't be enough.
Winter broke, but the ash clouds still smothered the sky. The sun remained a memory, and their stores were dangerously low. Kazuki retrieved the short-wave radio he'd stored 5 years ago. If a single survivor heard this, it was worth the effort. He replaced the fried capacitor and the antenna wire. When the static finally broke, his hands were trembling.
This is geothermal engineer Kazuki. I am broadcasting from northern Honshu. A method exists to survive the ash. Geothermal wells can power underground greenhouses. The blueprints I am sending now can be built anywhere. With volcanic heat, our coordinates are 39.7 north, 141.1 east. If there's anyone alive, please respond. We can teach you.
The antenna on the roof hummed, pushing the signal through the ash. He didn't know if it would reach beyond the valley.
It's done. Either someone will hear, or I am talking to ghosts. At least I tried.
He sat by the radio for hours, but only static answered. The silence of the world was absolute. Days passed. The beans grew taller in the greenhouse. The radio remained silent.
The world might be dead, but if it isn't, they'll come. They have to.
3 weeks after the broadcast, the low thump of rotor blades broke the ash-muffled silence.
A helicopter. Someone actually heard, and they found us.
You must be the engineer who sent the green prints. I am Officer Tanaka. The provisional government needs you.
Needs me for what? There are 90 people here who depend on me. I can't just abandon them.
Your broadcast saved thousands already. But Japan is dying. Your expertise can save millions more.
Kazuki left Mrs. Yamada in charge and boarded the helicopter, watching his compound shrink to a speck in the gray wasteland.
On the screen, 2 million survivors. Food reserves gone in months. We have geothermal sites mapped, but no one who can scale them.
The helicopter descended into a mountainside hangar, the massive blast doors closing behind them like the jaws of a tomb.
So this is the last government. It looks more like a grave than a command center.
Welcome to the Remnant Headquarters, Engineer. You are now the most important man in Japan.
In the cold briefing room, the reality of the cataclysm hit him like a physical blow.
2 million survivors. Food reserves, empty in 3 months. Without drastic action, Japan starves by autumn.
3 months. Scaling my greenhouse design across the whole country in 3 months. Impossible. Then give me full authority. No committees, no bureaucratic delays. Every geothermal site mobilized under my command.
Granted. You answer only to the Prime Minister. Every resource we have is yours. Don't fail.
Kazuki's hand moved across the blueprint with desperate speed, redesigning his compound's model into a national grid. He overlaid a map of Japan with known geothermal fields, connecting them into a web of 400 potential arcologies.
Each arcology will be self-contained. Power, water, food, a network of underground fortresses against the dimming. But 3 months to break ground on the first one. If the drill fails, if the soil is dead, it's over. I'll need every geothermal drill in the nation. We start at Site Alpha tomorrow at dawn.
At Site Alpha, the frozen ground shattered under the roar of the geothermal drills. The crew worked in shifts, but on the third day, the primary drill seized with a terrible shriek.
The bits fuse to the rock. If we lose this well, we lose the whole arcology.
Kazuki descended into the borehole himself, hammer in hand, to manually free the mechanism.
It's a carbide fracture. Heat the casing, and we can pull it. Don't stop the circulation.
Steam billowed as the drill groaned back to life. The well was saved, but they lost 3 days. Days later, the skeleton of the first arcology rose against the gray sky. A dome of steel and glass. Inside, under the sulfur lamps, the first seeds were planted in rows of recycled soil.
14 days to germination. If nothing sprouts, all this steel is just a tomb.
Then the green shoots came. Beans, then tomatoes, bright against the dark. The first harvest was a handful, but it was proof. Over the next 3 years, that proof became 400 arcologies, lighting up the Japanese archipelago like a constellation of underground suns. Japan's greenhouses flooded the surviving world with food, becoming humanity's unlikely breadbasket. But beyond its shores, the rest of the world descended into dark anarchy, where old nations tore themselves apart over crumbs.
We feed them today, but if they can't rebuild, this will never end. I need to teach them, not just sustain them.
In the 3rd year, a desperate fleet of survivors tried to seize Arcology 7. They came with guns and hollow eyes.
They're starving. Not evil, but we can't let them in. Defend the outer gate, but offer food for surrender.
The raid was repelled, but the world now saw Japan's green miracle as a fortress to be cracked.
We will not let this make us prisoners in our own greenhouses. We must teach the world to build their own.
But with every shipment, the resentment grew. In the ashes of the old world, Kazuki's name became both a prayer and a curse.
We solved the food crisis, but the eruptions, they still don't make sense. I need to find out why.
Kazuki-san, these seismographs from the January eruption, they show a harmonic resonance pattern. It's not natural.
Coincidence. 4 supervolcanoes are bound to share some seismic signature.
Look at the timing. Yellowstone, Toba, Taupo, Phlegraean fields, all triggered within hours. The probability is less than 0.
She overlaid the seismic traces, and a haunting pattern emerged. Waves that repeated like a deliberate code.
My colleague, Dr. Miura, was working on the same analysis. Yesterday, his lab suffered a fatal electrical fire.
This wasn't an accident. Someone is silencing anyone who looks too closely at the eruptions. Dr. Sato, from now on, your research is off the record. No government terminals, no official reports. We investigate in shadow.
If we're right, the cataclysm wasn't a disaster. It was an attack.
They began poring over global seismic archives, searching for the fingerprint of something buried deep beneath the mantle.
Whatever triggered those eruptions, it's still down there. And if it wakes up again, everything we've built means nothing.
The harmonic waves converge at a single point in the lower mantle. Every eruption synchronizes to it.
They traced the epicenters backward, merging into a web of precise mathematical resonance.
This isn't a natural fault. It's a signal, a deliberate frequency designed to trigger catastrophic pressure release.
The pattern repeats every 4.7 seconds. It's too regular to be chaos. This is engineered.
On the screen, the focal points glowed like nodes in a vast planetary-scale machine.
Human technology is centuries away from this. Whatever did, this isn't from our world.
They mapped the source depth, 2,900 kilometers, resting on the outer core.
It's not just an attack. It's an extermination protocol, and it could reactivate.
No one will believe us without proof. We can't fabricate. We need to find the physical object.
With the truth in their hands, they were now the most dangerous people on Earth. Kazuki stood before the remnant cabinet, his seismic evidence projected across the entire wall.
These eruptions were triggered by a harmonic resonance source in the mantle. The probability it was natural is 0.
You expect us to believe the cataclysm was an attack by something we can't see or fight.
The data is undeniable. A synchronized signal across 4 continents. It was a directed energy pulse.
A security official leaned forward, his voice dropping to a cold threat.
If this leaks, the public will panic. Our fragile order will collapse. Your authority can be revoked, engineer.
They're afraid, not of the truth, of losing control. They'd rather bury it than risk their power.
You'll continue your investigation, but in absolute secrecy. No broadcasts, no publications, or you'll lose everything.
Fine, but if this thing reactivates, secrecy will be the least of our problems.
The meeting ended with a handshake that felt like a collar. Kazuki had his mission, but it came with a muzzle. For 3 months, they worked in absolute secrecy, assembling a deep Earth sonar array on a forgotten Pacific outpost.
The echoes are returning. There's a massive density anomaly at exactly the predicted depth.
The sonar screen bloomed with color, outlining a shape no geologist would dare call natural.
It's symmetrical. Bilateral symmetry at this depth means engineered design, not lava.
That's the source. A resonator. It's been sitting there like a planetary time bomb.
The data stream confirmed the harmonic frequency, a perfect match to the eruption trigger.
Carbon decay analysis puts the object at 60,000 years old. It predates modern humans.
The implications crashed over them. An external intelligence had long ago planted a device to sterilize Earth.
We're not the first civilization. This thing is here to ensure we're the last.
But the object was silent now, dormant after its cataclysmic cycle. The harrowing question remained. Would it wake up again? They traced the object's activation history through ancient geological records. Its cycles were precise as clockwork.
It stimulated fault lines for centuries before each eruption. A terraforming system or a kill switch.
But the latest cycle had expended itself. The device was now in deep dormancy, its energy signatures flatlining.
Projections show the next activation window, 70,000 years from now. Humanity has time.
Wait, there's a secondary harmonic buried in the noise. It's weak, but it's a carrier wave.
She isolated the frequency, a low-power transmission from the deep object to an unknown recipient.
It's reporting. The device is dormant, but it's telling something, somewhere, that the cycle is complete.
If there's a receiver, someone could send a reactivation command at any time.
Then we don't wait. We design a countermeasure, a deep Earth defense to neutralize any incoming trigger.
So began a desperate project to build a shield around the planet's core, a mission that would define the rest of his life.
Kazuki-san, the secondary waveform is accelerating. The dormancy might not be absolute. It could awaken within our lifetimes.
If the window is closing, then the government's silence is a death sentence. I have to act now.
That night, He began writing a warning, a letter, not for today, but for the generation that would face the next cycle. He sketched a network of deep Earth emitters, a planetary shield that could jam any incoming reactivation signal.
If they find you doing this, they'll strip your authority. You'll lose everything.
Authority means nothing if there's no future. I'll do it in secret, but I will do it.
He converted a storage room into a hidden lab, working by dim lamplight after the official shifts ended.
This is treason. But what's the greater crime? Defying orders or letting genocide happen again?
The defense blueprint grew more complex each night, while the warning letter filled with precise data.
I will not let the dimming become extinction. This warning will survive me.
An informant inside the remnant government alerted Tanaka to a forbidden project in the storage wing.
Seal the wing, arrest the engineer, and destroy any unauthorized data. No copies leave that room.
The hidden lab door crashed inward. Sato threw herself in front of the data drives as the soldiers grabbed her.
Kazuki, take the packet. Run. The world must see it.
Kazuki snatched the only copy of the warning and defense blueprint, then dove through a service hatch. Behind him, Sato was dragged away, her last cry echoing through the concrete halls.
She gave herself up for this data. If I fail now, her sacrifice means nothing.
He reached a backup radio room and locked the door behind him, the documents trembling in his hands.
This broadcast will reach the world. It won't stop them from coming for me, but it will stop the lie.
The transmitter hummed to life. Outside, the sound of boots thundered closer.
This is Kazuki. The supervolcanoes were triggered by an artificial resonator deep in the mantle. The coordinates and defense blueprint are now transmitting.
The signal surged across the surviving networks, crackling from radios in bunkers and remote outposts.
Jam all channels in that sector. Silence him before the whole world hears.
The frequency dissolved into shrieking static as the jammer engaged, swallowing his words.
The object is at 2,900 kilometers. It's dormant now, but a remote signal can reactivate it. The defense blueprint is transmitting now.
Across scattered listeners, the feed died mid-sentence, leaving only white noise and an unfinished warning. The doors splintered inward, and soldiers poured through, rifles raised.
I surrender. You can destroy me, but you can't destroy the truth. It's already in the air.
Tanaka walked in, his face an unreadable mask of fury, as he surveyed the silent transmitter and the envelope on the table.
Even if only one person heard, it's enough. Sato's sacrifice wasn't wasted.
To his shock, they did not execute him. The remnant government saw his blueprint's value. The official order read, Engineer Kazuki will complete the deep Earth defense design under constant supervision.
So I am a weapon now. They'll keep me alive as long as I am useful.
For years, he worked without rest, refining the resonance jammers while his body slowly betrayed him.
My hands shake. 40 years ago, I could sketch for hours. Now each line costs me.
The final blueprint covered 9 pages, every transmitter node placed with brutal precision.
It's finished. A shield for the next civilization, if they're smarter than we were.
He ordered a time capsule, built deep in a granite vault, to preserve the data for millennia.
To whoever finds this, the monster at the core sleeps for now. When it stirs, these pages are your only hope.
He sealed the capsule himself, then leaned against the cold stone wall, finally at peace. Slowly, the ash clouds thinned, and the first blue sky in a generation broke through the gray. On his 92nd birthday, Kazuki received the final deep scan results from the tracking station. The report concluded. Object signs dormant. Harmonic activity, at minimum. Cycle likely paused for millennia.
To future generations, the supervolcanoes were triggered by a machine deep under the mantle. This blueprint is your only hope.
He published the warning in every medium he could, radio, print, and stone etched for millennia. Decades later, a student in a rebuilt school read his words on a tablet, the warning now part of the world's curriculum. The arcologies hummed with life, feeding a reborn civilization.
I did what I could. The rest is up to them.
At his original compound, a simple monument bore his warning, carved into stone for all time. Deep beneath the crust, the resonator slept on, a forgotten sentinel waiting for a call that might never come. In his final days, Kazuki sat by the window, watching the first arcology he built glow in the evening light.
It's strange. I remember the ash like it was yesterday. Now the sky is blue.
He passed away that night in his sleep, a faint smile on his lips. The next morning, every screen in every arcology showed the same headline: "The founder has passed." They held his funeral at his original compound, under cherry blossoms he had planted before the cataclysm. They placed his ashes beside the geothermal well that had fed the nation, but his legacy lived on in every green sprout that pushed through the ash. His blueprints were enshrined in every arcology, his warning etched into their walls. Deep beneath, the resonator slept on, but the shield he designed would protect them all. And somewhere, a child recited his words, "The monster sleeps." Remember, years after his death, they unveiled the monument at his compound, a simple stone inscribed with his warning. The inscription read, "When the deep machine stirs again, this blueprint must guide you." A young student traced the letters with her finger, committing them to memory. She looked out at the arcologies, understanding for the first time how close humanity came to extinction. Deep beneath, the resonator remained motionless, its orange pulse a faint heartbeat beneath the world. But Kazuki's shield covered the globe, ready to jam any reactivation signal. The student returned to her class and wrote a paper on the warning, vowing to become an engineer. At the monument, cherry blossoms fell like snow, covering the stone each spring. The resonator slept, but it would not be allowed to wake unchallenged. The last line of the warning read, "Remember the dimming. Prepare for the dawn." At night, the arcologies glowed like scattered jewels across the reborn land. Dawn broke over endless greenhouses, their crops feeding millions. A single green leaf unfurled on a tree, carrying the memory of ash in its veins. Families gathered outside the arcologies, no longer fearing the dark, laughing under the stars. Seasons turned, but the greenhouses stood eternal, a promise to the future. Deep beneath, the resonator remained silent, its red pulse a faint heartbeat. In spring, cherry blossoms covered the monument, and the words were spoken aloud. A girl read the warning by starlight, her voice carrying the old promise into the night. And the world healed, one green sprout at a time, the ash becoming soil. And in the deep, the machine waited, but humanity no longer feared the dark. From space, the planet glowed with a fragile peace. The scars of the eruption were buried under new growth. A child found an old book of warnings and, with a steady voice, read the words etched for all time: "To those who come after, remember the dimming." That message had crossed generations, carried in stone, paper, and code. Deep in the mantle, the ancient machine pulsed with orange light. Still dormant, it had waited for millennia. It would wait for millennia more. But humanity was no longer blind. The defense network covered the globe. The child closed the book and looked up, a new fire in her eyes. She whispered the final line, "Prepare for the dawn," and the earth turned, green and blue, carrying its secret and its hope into the endless night.